everybody, and thanks for watching another episode of The Other 99. Today we take a look at a Seton Krosan Protector deck submitted by Richard, aka Green Lex Luthor. Mono Green's best known tribe is probably elves, but they don't have the monopoly on tribal. Druids are another tribe that can ramp very well, especially if you have Seton Krosan Protector on the battlefield. Seton allows you to tap your druids for mana the turn they come out, allowing you to ramp faster than any silly little elf ever could. Seton is also an extremely cheap general, although he is very mana intensive. It is important to get to Seton as soon as possible, and these cards get you there. Arbor Elf, Elvish Pioneer, Fyndhorn Elves, and Llanowar Elves are all one-drop druids that will help you cast Seton turn 2. Sadly for this deck, there are only so many 1/1 druids that tap for green, so there are more ramp creatures to help to make even more mana. Boreal Druid. It's a one-drop that doesn't ramp into Seton since he taps for 1 colorless. Druaga Tree Speaker. Taps for 2 mana very quickly, and will make the other elves in the deck tap for 2 green instead of 1. Priest of Titania, Elvish Archdruid, and Wirewood Channeler will also benefit from the other elves in the deck to tap for much more than just 1 mana. Raphelos Llanowar Emissary. Taps for so much mana, he got banned as a general. Bloom Tender, Devoted Druid, Heart Warden, and Leaf Glider are mana dorks that will benefit from a fully leveled Druaga Tree Speaker. Werebear, the third best bear in the game. Fyndhorn Elder, Greenweaver Druid, and Nantuko Elder are your Worn Powerstone elves. Krosan Restorer helps you abuse your utility lands or just make tons of mana if you have Threshold. Moldiah Channelers can make a lot of mana or be a very cheap 5/5. Somberwald Sage helps you run out late game fat even more quickly than the rest of your mana dorks. Yavimaya Elder gets lands, and the sacrifice ability means you'll always get something out of this guy. Of course, all of your druids are potentially mana sources if Seton is out, but these druids do a lot more than just make mana. Setonal Wood Readers and Ondu Giant. They're useful for their abilities and as early game blockers. Elvish Harbinger tutors up all of your powerful elves. Treefolk Harbinger can find forests or Dryad Arbor. Chameleon Colossus, a late game mana sink that causes black decks all sorts of woe. It can be tutored up with a tribal tutor. Nantuko Vigilante is a druid that naturalizes. Gilt-Leaf Archdruid. If you want to draw cards in green, this guy is for you. And if you don't feel like having any friends at the table, then you can just start stealing people's lands. Kamahl Fist of Krosa. Easily one of the most powerful druids in the format, this guy will allow all of your tiny mana dorks to trample over any opposition. Druids are awesome and can make a lot of mana, but a little support from other creature types is necessary. Curion Ranger and Seeker of Skybreak. They untap creatures like Priest of Titania, Raphelos, and Krosan Restorer to put your mana production through the roof. Eternal Witness. Finishing a Genesis wave chain with an Eternal Witness kind of feels like cheating. Primordial Sage and Soul of the Harvest. They are the harmless card drawing part of Gilt-Leaf Archdruid without the scary part, which means you might be able to turn your dudes into cards for a bit longer. Regal Force. Turns a good board position into more fuel for your hand, which makes it easier to recover from a wrath later. Craterhoof Behemoth. Makes all of your creatures huge without requiring the mana that Kamahl does, although both cards will probably help you kill someone. This deck has lots of creatures to clog up the board and make mana, but Commander games are not won by beats alone. Seze's Divining Top makes your top of the library tutors much better. Lightning Greaves helps you protect your best creatures and give your best mana dudes haste. Emerald Medallion. Dropping most of the deck's mana curve by 1 will help you get going even faster. Cloudstone Curio allows you to recycle your Enter the Battlefield abilities and is part of several combos that will be discussed later. Slate of Ancestry. Considering you have a lot of druids and quite a few elves, this artifact will allow you to trade a mediocre or empty hand for a ton of new cards you'll probably be able to play in one turn. Vidalcan Orrery lets you play around blue decks a lot better. Coat of Arms, a tribal favorite. This card will make all of your 1/1s much scarier. Predator Flagship lets you shoot down creatures or give your guys flying. Planar Portal, a 6 mana tutor to help assemble combos, find finishers, or just recover from a wrath. The multitude of enchantments in this deck keep the ball rolling. Concordant Crossroads. This card really speeds games up and is also great when flipped with a Genesis wave, especially if Craterhoof Behemoth is involved. Helix Pinnacle. It's not just for Omnath decks. This pet card can actually win games with the amount of mana you make from your druids. Abundance. Being able to choose if you want to land or non-land is great. No more mana screw. Sylvan Library. At some point you'll want to dig for something that isn't a mana dork. This card is also best with Abundance. Descendant's Path. Sometimes you'll whiff, but other times this card will help you put druids on the board even faster. Mana Reflection. Doubles all the mana from your mana druids and lands. The instants and sorceries are here to push everything the deck is trying to do, although they can make Primal Surge suck at times. Green Sun Zenith, Worldly Tutor, and Court of Calling. Tutor up Rafellos in the early game and Kamal in the late game. Vitalize. Most of your guys tap for mana, so why not untap them and do it again? Genesis Wave. It's what green decks do when they make lots of mana. If it doesn't win the game, it will bring you much, much closer. Krosan Grip. Bye-bye pesky artifacts and enchantments. Harmonize. Sometimes you run out of gas and just need a little pick-me-up. Primal Command. You will inevitably get your board wrathed away, so this card will let you shuffle all of your best cards back into your deck. Collective Unconscious is another way to refill your hand. Praetor's Council. Oh, you've blown up everything I've cast? Well, let me get it back and recast most of it in one turn. Primal Surge. Sure, there are 10 cards that can stop it, but it will still be powerful, and knowing you'll whiff at some points means you can cast it without feeling like a bad person. And for the deck's lands. Dryad Arbor, Oran Reef of Vastwood, Reliquary Tower, Strip Mine, Wirewood Lodge, and 32 forests. The deck also has some combos that we need to highlight. Cloudstone Curio, plus Seton, plus 2 1-drops, plus Gilt-Leaf Archdruid, Soul of the Harvest, or Primordial Sage, means you can draw your entire deck. Cloudstone Curio plus Seton, plus 2 1-drops, plus Mana Reflection will give you infinite mana. Krosan Restore with Threshold, plus Seeker of Skybreak, plus Wirewood Lodge, also will give you infinite mana. Now for the strengths and weaknesses of the deck. For its strengths, the deck can explode early. It has combo win cons, but can usually win through combat. People tend to leave you alone because you're playing a bunch of seemingly bad druids. For its weaknesses, it can stall out at times. Wraths can spell disaster, and a high number of mana dorks means early ramp, but they aren't great to draw in the late game. You should play this deck if you like playing underused tribes, you like making tons of mana, or you love killing people with a 10/10 flying trampling Llanowar elves. This deck uses an underloved tribe to ramp out into some humongous spells and creatures. Thanks to Richard, aka Green Lex Luthor, for the submission. For next time, vote on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube for either Sheree Shizo's Caretaker, Misform Ultimus, or Mayel of the Anima. I'm Karsten with Top Go Productions, and as always, thanks for watching.